All right. Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Ashley Nordell before the 2018 Lake Sonoma 50 mile. How are you, Ashley?
I'm good. How are you, Brian?
Doing all right. As we were just discussing, we've known each other for pretty much a decade now.
Yes, we're like old buddies.
But this is our first interview, so I'm excited for this.
Yes, the first official one, right?
Yes, yeah. So you're here at Lake Sonoma, and with a sort of wild change up in the field, you're the top returning woman this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. That
No,
sounds scary.
It doesn't sound scary. You were 7th year last year in your first time at Lake Sonoma.
Yeah.
And had a pretty good race. Tell me how the race went last year.
Yeah, it was good. I think I remember feeling good for about 40 and feeling really rough for the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, kind of I think a steady day, and I kind of had some fun out there.
Yeah.
Except the last 10.
And why is that? What one?
Just I think the wheels sort of fall off, bonking. I felt like I'd run 40 miles. And,
a standard end of an ultra kind of situation.
You know, the last 10 is up a lot. It's sort of tricky, and so just all those climbs at the end were starting to feel a little bit rough. And
last year there was like a reroute that you went through.
Yes, and that was super. It felt way steeper on the way back than it did on the way out, and it was. And the mud was it was a bit muddy last year in sections, but yeah, I think just it was a lot of miles on the legs, and made it to the finish. God, it wasn't 51 miles.
But you're back this year.
I'm back, yes.
Yes. What brings you back?
Well, to be honest, I was coming back because my husband was supposed to do a triathlon on Sunday in Napa, and so we were going to do a whole family trip for that, and that kind of fell apart. So he's at home, but my dad and I came out, and so returning, kind of.
Here you are.
A little change of plans, but we made it work. Yeah.
So this is just out here to have a good spring race.
Yeah. I enjoyed it last year. It's kind of it's nice to throw something this time of year. It comes 1 month after running that race out in Arkansas that I do kind of every year, and so it's, on one hand, that's a great training for this. On the other hand, I still feel a little maybe tired from that to this.
And you raced last weekend as well?
No, I helped put it.
Oh, okay. You're at Peterson Ridge Rumble.
Yeah, Peterson Ridge benefits the sisters cross country team, and Josh is the coach, and so we help Sean.
Gotcha.
With everything he needs, whatever he needs. We store his stuff in our garage all year since he's no longer.
Do you bring him donuts? Because that's mostly what Meisner needs.
Well, there are a lot of donuts there. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. So, and then we get to see Sean for a few days, which is super nice. But yeah, it's more exhausting for Josh because he's out there. Him and Sean are out there like all day long. But I go out and help make sure people don't miss a certain turn and haul the girls around and cheer.
Gotcha.
The cheering squad out there.
So you're out here, and it was supposed to be a family weekend, and it is not a family weekend.
I am kid-free, which, I mean, I wish the kids were here, but it does take a little of the stress off as far as just knowing that they're not hauling around all day long, and I can probably sleep a little better.
You said you had a good night camping last night.
I had a good night camping. Tonight will be another good night camping. My mother-in-law actually is in from Minnesota helping them at home, so I know they're happy with Grandma, and my dad's down with me, so it's a full-on family event to do one of these things.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm super lucky. If I didn't have those people helping me, I wouldn't be here this weekend for sure.
And you've been ultra running long before you were a mother. You've been at this for a while.
For a long time, yeah. It's making me feel old when you talk about that.
Were you a runner before you were an ultra runner?
Yes, not necessarily willingly.
Okay.
My family, my parents are runners. My sister was a runner. My parents actually, my dad still does ultras. He actually ran Peterson, the 40 miler last weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so when I was little, we used to go on like family vacations, and they would go for runs, and my sister would run, and I kind of was anti-running. I ran track for a few years in high school, and then my senior year, I was like, I'm going to play tennis. So I played tennis instead. I was more into soccer, and so running would be kind of like getting fit for other sports.
Or punishment.
Exactly. That's the problem. Yes, it's like, you didn't listen, go run some hills. And but then in college, I kind of rediscovered it, and that's when I kind of started to like it. And then right out of college, I was home in Corvallis for a year before grad school and did the Mac Forest 50K.
Okay.
And my dad.
So right out of college.
Yeah. So I was 23.
And in college, you were just doing that recreationally?
It was a D3 school, and I was out running, and the track coach saw me running on the track, and he's like, "You're running, why don't you come run track?" And so I decided to I was missing doing sports because I always did sports in high school, and I kind of wimped out on doing any in college. And so on a whim, after being at school for a few months, I decided to join track and loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, they teased me because I used to complain that 3,000 meters was way too far to race.
And here you are.
Here I am, yeah. But yeah, so the first 50K I did was the McDonald Forest 50K in Corvallis, which is where I grew up. And my dad tells everyone about it because he ran it too, and he beat me at the end. And
at the very end, yeah?
As I remember it, he outkicked me, but he remembers that there was a climb, and he said, "Come with me," and I said, "I can't," and he just ran away. So
oh, Dad.
Both those versions, I guess, he's happy with either of them, I'm sure. But, yeah.
And you've been running ultras ever since.
Yeah, so that was 2003, I think. And yeah, so since then.
So one of the races that you've done through most of that time is the 3 Days Asylum. How does that happen? Like
people are like, do you have relatives in Arkansas?
Exactly.
Like, why do you keep going to Arkansas?
Tell us why.
Okay, so years ago, I don't even know, like I want to say it's back in maybe 2007 or so. There was a year I ran on the Montrail team, and Steve Kirk, the race director, also ran on that team, and so he had offered up 2 entries to this 3-day stage race in the Ozarks of Arkansas. Yeah. And I didn't have kids. I was probably maybe out of grad school teaching, and I thought, cool, I'll go to Arkansas and run a stage race. The idea of a stage race was kind of fun sounding, and so I went, and I loved it, and I went back the next year, and then over the years I've become really good friends with the Kirk family, who's the race director, and the same people come back year after year, and so in a way I do have family in Arkansas, I'm just not related to them. And then Steve's the one who helped me back in October when I did that Ozark Highlands Trail. Like, we've become just really good friends, and so every year I took a few years off, like the years I had my girls, but both girls have come out. Like my oldest, when she was 9 months old, we brought her out, and my dad came out and watched her. And then my youngest, I think when she was about 6 months, Josh came with me, and so both of them have been there. And I keep going back.
And you go out because you have fun, obviously, but you also must take it a little bit competitively because you've won the race outright at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, but it's I don't know. I go to it because it's fun. And, this year actually was really fun because I ran a bunch of it with a couple guys from Missouri, and one of them is Tommy Doyas, and he and I actually met at the Ozark 100, which is in Missouri. Apparently in Missouri and Arkansas are places I like to travel. And we raced to the very finish of that race. Like, Billy Simpson jumped in and paced me with 6 miles to go, and he just starts, Tommy and I were both in that aid station. It was for like the win at the end of the race, and Billy starts yelling Prefontaine quotes at me, and he's like, fired up and just making me like run. And so Tommy and I were like, neck and neck, and then Billy helped me get to the end. And so then this year Tommy was at 3 days, and we ran all 3 days, a lot of it together. And but it was fun. It was like I felt like we were working together and stuff. And he's going to actually be at the Superior 100 in September that I'm doing, so we'll get to hopefully run together.
You do a lot of racing in the Central Time Zone, don't you?
I know. Well, Josh's family is from Minnesota.
Okay.
So that's why, like last year, we happened to be there when the Voyager 50 was there. So it was just like, we're in Minnesota. It's hard to train kind of where his family lives. And so I just, on a whim, decided to go up and do Voyager. So it's a neat way to get to see other places and
totally.
And run. So part of why I'm going to Superior is to go up, and his family will be up there.
So you've got this, you've got Superior, or anything else on your horizon?
Well, in a couple weeks, I'm going to do, there's a run in Oregon where it's not a race, but you run the Rogue River. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's just you run 40 miles down the river, and you stay in a lodge, and then you run 40 miles back up the next day.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is. This will be, I think, my 3rd year going, and a friend of mine from Hawaii who got into Western States this year for her first 100, she wanted to do like a good training run for it, and so she's going to come out, and some other friends are going to do it. So that's a good adventure. But I don't have any other races planned. There's some adventure thoughts in the works, but it's hard to race too much with life and stuff. So if I do something else, it'll probably be local. And
it sounds like you can perform quite well. You've won lots of races. You can be competitive at a Lake Sonoma, but that ultra running has a lot of other aspects for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's I probably don't run the same. Maybe like I look back at what I used to do before kids and how we used to run, and Josh and I both would just spend the weekends just running in the mountains for 8 hours, and that doesn't quite fly these days. But yeah, I mean, it's nice because we'll do trail swaps. Like one of us will, like, we're really good friends with the Askews, Chris and Darla.
Yeah.
So Darla and I will go for a run, and then the boys will meet us at a trailhead with the kids and trade the kids, and then they'll go do something, and Darla and I will have the girls. And so I swear Darla and Chris help take care of our girls too. We have like a whole bunch of people who help us out.
Sounds like Sisters is very much a tight community.
Well, they live in Bend,
but we moved to Sisters before the girls, and so we met them through Sean before we even had kids, and so they just became like our instant BFFs. Nice.
So it's definitely that's why it's nice when it can be a family trip, because I feel a little less guilty if we're all here doing something and turning it into fun things for everyone. But I don't know that crewing for 50 miles is necessarily fun for 2 kids.
Maybe not yet.
No, although they do like aid station food and
more Twizzlers when they get
like
home.
They have the cowbell out there and everything. But it does make, like leading up to this with all the craziness of trying to make it work logistically, it takes a little bit of a toll for sure.
Well, hopefully you can enjoy the race tomorrow, and then maybe enjoy. Are you sticking around for Sunday to?
I wish. I work Monday. I've got to get back.
All right.
So we're gonna either camp one more night and haul all home on Sunday, or drive part and then drive the rest of it on Sunday. But one day I would love to do the wine tasting.
One of these days. Well, enjoy the race for now.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks for the chat.